that what we carried when we went, wherever we went to, being in Africa for the diaspora as well. Man has that. I want to know how he preserved it.
I've got a question.
Yeah, go on.
Most of the time, when I speak to a lot of African people, especially from West Africa,
Where are you from?
Central Africa, I'm Somali.
So you like classify yourself as African?
I am African.
Okay.
So,
Are you sure about that? Don't be a troublemaker.
Those people.
Go.
Go on, my
I'm
brother.
talking about West Africa. I said
Yeah.
West Africa. I didn't say.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Me, look at Africa. Let me tell you something.
That's Africa. Yeah.
I class myself as an African, but I don't class myself as black.
Yeah, we've had this many times.
You have to be, that's the difference. I'll
Yeah.
openly say that.
I'm with you.
I'll openly say that.
No,
Now, come back to the point.
Yes.
When we talk about African history,
Yes.
most of the time, like, a lot of Central Africans or West Africans, or many Africans, as we should say, they will talk about, but I want to focus on West Africa. And the reason being, they would say, they would talk about or be proud of Egypt so much that they forgot their own, like, for example, there was a simultaneous empire as Egypt in Nigeria and West Africa, like the Nok Empire. These guys invented metal. Like the metal that we use today, it came from them. But I don't hear people, like most of the time, I don't hear West Africans being proud of that. They don't, like me, I found out Nok history on the internet.
It's mad. It's crazy.
I didn't hear it from people. So now the question is, why are we so focused? Like me, I might say, okay, Somalis are Cushitic, we come from the Kush lineage, we've been, obviously, as you look in the Kush history, we've got some connection to Egypt. Because we have one of the oldest languages from Egypt, from Egypt. Now, come back to the point, I don't focus on that. When I come to the park, you don't hear me talking about that. I talk about Ajuran, Geledi, I talk about my empire. So why are these people so much focused on Egypt?
Can I answer that? It corrects what we're saying there. And just to make it a bit more spicy, I do find that a lot of black people have low self-esteem, and sometimes they're trying to search for greatness. And sometimes they search for greatness in Africa, and sometimes they search for greatness outside of Africa.
Sorry, are you saying they're searching for something better?
Well, we have one conversation.
Right. I'd say there's two things in that. The first thing is people tend to look for their oldest origin. And so because for a long time Kemet was known as the oldest civilization, people look there for a beginning.
So was Nok as well. Nok was also very old.
It's old, but it's not as old as Kemet, right? You know what I'm saying? It's old, but it's not as old as Kemet.
When we say Kemet, we're talking about Egypt, right?
No, but again,
Go on.
the other thing is that a lot of in terms of the flow of history, a lot of us learn about Kemet before we learn about Nok. So there are a lot of people that are researching Nok now. Like, I've done courses in these kinds of things in a lot of different things, and there is more information coming to light about the continent now. We have to remember we're living in a context whereby the discipline of history has been Eurocentrized, so that what we knew about ourselves was what white people taught us.
Of course.
Right? And because the white people then put a premium on Egypt.
I wouldn't say all.
Not all, but a lot of us.
You can't deny that.
But I know, but
being honest.
you know, I know what he's saying. I know what he's saying.
Let me interject, because let me finish explain why I said that. Because as a Somali,
I know.
a white man didn't teach me about my history. My granddad taught me what I know about myself.
At the same time,
it was an oral history.
All right.
Go on.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. I could challenge it slightly, but I'm not going to do it right now. We go somewhere else, right? However, what I'm saying is that because, again, a lot of the religious traditions, because people prior to saw the Bible as straight history, and because Egypt is mentioned in the Bible, you know what I'm saying? People look for that. When people were looking to find themselves, especially black people, especially in a Western context, they identified with the places that they knew when they discovered raw.
Other countries were also mentioned in the Bible too.
Ethiopia, Kush,
Israel,
but we're talking about
Israel,
Africa.
Sudan.
But we're talking about Africa.
But that's what I'm saying. We need to establish the region of Africa, bro. That's what I'm trying to say to you.
I'm not disputing the region.
You're talking about the Africa that we now know as
No. He's asking me about Egypt and why people focus on Egypt. I'm giving an explanation as to why. Right? That's what I'm saying. So it's partly because when we learn history, obviously the lands that we know of through whatever experience that we have, we're going to focus on those lands, innit? If I'm coming from Jamaica and I know that I'm from Africa, but I don't know what particular tribe so-called that I'm from, but I know that I'm from Africa, and I find that Egypt's in Africa, I'm going to start there, right? And then I'm going to find out that actually the people then from Kemet came from the south, so I'm going to look at Kush. Kush is in the Bible too, and Ethiopia. Ethiopia's in the Bible too. Then I'm gonna start learning more about like my people that come from West Africa, okay, and then the fact that there's a lot of stories because a lot of the people that from West Africa have origin stories that begin in the east, yeah, and some in the north, and you know what I'm saying, right, and them kind of things there. So my only point is that it's understandable, and you are correct. There is more to study. There's more to learn. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so, you know what I'm saying?
Are we saying that because you said the oldest civilization known to Africa was Egypt? And that's the wrong statement because one of the Mesopotamia, right, the start of Mesopotamia was also an African kingdom.
If you're bringing it in though, that's the whole point of establishing the region of Africa.
Yeah,
you talk about Mesopotamia, you're talking about Assyria and those parts towards the east.
It was an African kingdom still.
Whoa,
yeah,
that's the dispute.
But
That's what
whether it's older than Kush and Kemet is debatable, and a lot of people are trying to make it older,
yes,
because it centralizes somewhere that many people would consider outside of Africa as the origin of civilization. There are people there, you know, but when we talk about civilizations now, we're not talking about culture and presence of people. For example, there are ancient peoples in North Africa that they wouldn't necessarily call civilization, they just call it cultures in a historical lingo, if that makes sense. Because there were people there, they were doing stuff, but there's a certain point at which they call it civilization. We might disagree with the designation, but when people say, oh, the civilization, they mean a specific thing. Like, and oftentimes it relates to a system of governance or king's list or that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? So
Does that answer your question, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I don't think we need to run from Kemet still. I feel like you were saying, there are people in Congo that have lineage from Kemet, and also because
how do you define people that can't have millions from like?
So partly
in Africa, as you know, we go back via tribes and lineages and ancestry.
Right.
So do you have like a certain tribe that was known to have migrated from Egypt at a certain time and stuff like that?
From what I have studied thus far, there were people who have been migrating across the continent for millennia.
Yeah,
right?
but
So
some people were also not that much of migrants as well.
No. But all right, let's I'll come back to that. Yeah. But what I'm saying is that the Nile Valley at one point was like a magnet for a lot of people across the continent.
Yeah.
Right. It's what I'm saying. So a lot of people migrated to the
not,
Nile Valley.
Not all people.
Yeah. Not all people, but a lot of people did. Yeah. Right. Just what I'm saying. So this is something I'm noticing as well. We like to, when it comes to humanity, especially as black people, we like to flag up our similarities with people outside of Africa. But when it comes to Africa, we act as though we were always these distinct people that never moved anywhere and never had any contact with anybody else in the continent of Africa. So we act like we are who we are over here. We ain't got no relation to those people over there. Right? We're just distinct over here, and that's not necessarily the case, because if people were migrating to the Nile and then people migrated from the Nile, then there are a lot of people in different parts of the continent, north, south, east, and west, who have shared origins. You know what I'm saying? In certain parts, depending on where people migrated to and migrated from. People have been doing it for different reasons for a long time. There was once a point at which the Sahara had lakes and rivers, and people used to migrate to them. Then you got the rivers in Congo, because when you look at civilization, how they develop, oftentimes they develop around rivers, because water is essential to, just I'm saying, essential source of life and kind of things there.
Yeah, but I do understand the sense of migration.
Yeah.
Right. At the end of the day, the Berbers, right, once upon a time, they migrated from the Horn of Africa. Yeah. You understand? And they migrated all the way to North Africa.
Yeah, well, that's why the origins. But
I'm going to give you an example. I'm giving you an example. Right? Or we could say Ethiopians, or we can say, there's a lot of, for example, there's a huge Somali tribe known as Garre.
Yes.
And they lived in what's it called, in North Africa for centuries and centuries. Right. And Garre and other parts of some of them live in Somalia. So I was shocked how Garres were in there, you know what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to get at is we know how migration works. And people move from one place to another. Right? But my point is, when we say this certain tribe is connected to a certain place, we're gonna have to look at the migration pattern.
And the languages.
For example, right now you can literally look at the Somali migration pattern and know where they came from and who they are.
Can you look at it via DNA?
Sorry?
Can you assess whether they came from there via DNA?
Via DNA, you could do that. Like, for example, look, you can look at...
there's DNA links there that would suggest a migration pattern.
I believe that. I can be corrected. But I believe in that, because at the end of the day, look, you've got white people who have, like, for example, in Poland, Slovakia, I can't say the name. Yeah, Slovakia, and many other countries, right? They carry they carry an African DNA marker, the E1B1B, which is like all across from Northeast Africa to North Africa. It's like it's habited all that area, and you see that, and the more you go further, the lighter their skin goes because they're closer to Europe. You understand? So we can actually make sense of that. Right, and we see, okay, this, when you come down to Somalia where it's like 100% to 90% the E1B1B, these people look darker. They carry the same DNA code, but they look darker compared to the people further north. You understand? And that shows the migration pattern and how people moved. You understand?
Hey,
so now, coming back, my point is.
I want to talk to you about this black Batman thing.
My point is this.
The
point I was trying to make is that
everyone came from Somalia, right? We know.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
We come back for round 2 soon.
Okay. So what was I saying? So basically, my point is this: migration, right? I would prefer a Nigerian to come to me, or a Ghanaian or Congolese to come to me and tell me about their kingdoms and their empires.
Why?
And be proud of that.
Why?
You don't follow the news.
I tell you why that is.
You know that in the whole continent,
you
you man are the only ones standing alone. When we come to talk about this Pan-African thing, it's Somalis predominantly. We have this fight back from.
Can I tell you what?
Can I explain something?
I like that.
Sorry, the reason why I had to mention that is because even when we talk about the Berber team, when we talk about Berbers being indigenous, it's always these man that have their man's back.
Not all of us.
Not all of you.
Come on.
Not all of you.
Come on, not all of us.
Sorry.
We're not the same. Please, this is the problem. This is the problem I have with you guys as well. Not all of us are the same.
Khalid, Everlast,
He's Khalid as well. I'm Khalid as well. Come on, the real Khalid. Sorry.
Everlast and his
Who's
dudes.
the owner? Who's the owner?
I'm Everlast.
Cooler, man. Come on. You don't get along with.
Everlast and his goons, always.
Not all of them.
And his goons, bro.
There's a new sheriff in town.
Always,
Sorry.
we always face the resistance from them. And
I understand that.
even with this
Can I
E1,
explain?
Go on.
Let me explain. You see, the reason why Somalis stand alone is because if you look back
Some
in
Somalis stand
No, I'm talking about historically as
My
people.
brother,
Let's
thank
not
you,
talk
thank
about
you.
the westernized Somalis or the Somalis that we know today.
That's the nice. If I was you, man. Remember who was last there?
Can I also note before you go on? Can I also note, that Eritreans
let
and
me explain.
Ethiopians, even though they share DNA, are not on the same page.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say
In
that.
what
You
way?
should go to Eritrea.
Bruv,
It depends.
In what way?
I know that's
I've been to
political.
Eritrea. I've been to
I know
Eritrea.
what you mean.
And here's what they do.
I know.
Right,
It depends.
come back. Let me explain.
Trust me.
I'm not saying all of them. Bruv, even in my
Get your point. I need to explain because
I don't know
acknowledge the fact that they're black.
What's the black and black crime?
No, it's not. We'll come back.
I am a Somali man.
Khalid, please, I beg you. Let me just finish your answer.
Both of you got what? Hold on. So you both got a misunderstanding, or
No, we
have you got
don't.
an agreement, or what's going on with you?
It's a
No,
name
we'll
thing.
get to that. We'll get to that.
He thinks Jackson's
Come
name.
back
He
to
thinks
the
Jackson's
point.
name. They've got the same name in it.
Yeah, come back to the point. The
Banner,
reason
innit?
why
I know, but I'm not learning right now.
Yeah,
Not learning.
Khalid, let me just explain to Isa for something, yeah? The thing with Somalis standing alone, right? Let's speak about as a community, for example, right? The reason why we do this is because when we go back to history itself, the essence of Somali people, they've been standing on it by their own. Like, this is the way we evolved to be. You understand? There's nowhere in history, right, that we literally ran about seeking for help until the 1900s when we got invaded by the white people. You understand? Apart from that, Somalis stood alone all their history, right?
We didn't need the world as well.
So
we
the
didn't
point.
need the world. You
So-
need to see people migrate.
So at the end of the day, I'm not like, I know you. A lot of Africans will be like, how come Somalis don't include in us? How about
How come
this?
they don't
But the
think
thing is, we don't hate you. I swear to God, in the
not asking for
1960s,
inclusion,
one sec, bro, one sec. In the 1960s, when Somalia was a superpower, they helped African people, and obviously we resisted Africa as well. But at the end of the day, we had African songs singing about Africa Unites, like Africa.
African songs, what do you
Yeah, like basically songs that are dedicated to African people. Like as whole, saying that Africa
Hurudei.
Hurudei, being like
Yeah.
sleeping Africans, wake up and recognize who you are, get up for power. So we had these songs sending out to the African people, our brothers.
So
we're just
so
different.
hold up, Baba. At that time, there were Africans that were still sleeping. what you're saying?
Yeah, basically there were African people who were still depending on the Western people.
Yeah,
Like,
in the 19th century.
in the
Oh, there
19th
was some, not all.
20th century.
No, 20th century.
Yeah, we're talking about what's it called, the 1960s. and that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, my point was that Somalis are not like that, like not the way you depict them to be, but it's like we like to do things on our own way.
Yeah, we're all
It's just the way we are.
Bro, I've not got nothing against doing stuff on your own way.
But-
I'm not. I can. We're not going around London, around Africa, and saying, yeah, join us.
Yeah.
And let's all be friends. No, we all have our
Problems
distinct
together.
cultures and
Own
that.
understanding.
But what I'm saying is,
something you were
the
talking about
mannerisms,
earlier, I
the
agree with
way
that.
we mix.
Yes, I agree with it. Now,
My point.
now you're starting to get in the
As
Somali way.
it stands today, like what's vital for the survival and the thrival of Africa today is when we chat
coming
to man,
together.
when we saying let's fix up the whole of Africa. The response that
Everyone has to play their
response that I hear is
That don't
the response that I hear, and
exist.
correct me, from
You're right.
some
No.
is
exist, man.
bun you lot, yeah. We're only concerned about ourselves.
Yeah, I'll tell you why.
But is that a bad thing?
Somalia was collapsed.
Is
Right,
that a bad
Somalia
thing?
was in
Don't
civil
say so, but
war
don't tell me
for
about you.
30 years.
but sometimes
30 years, bro.
Yeah, listen,
And
we're all by ourselves.
Somalia was in
Think
civil
about it.
war for 30 years.
We're 5 tribes killing each other,
Themselves, and
no
also
one
you had
getting
foreign
involved,
intervention.
and all this bullshit.
And African people did nothing to help us.
Maybe the key is
And
West
those
Somalia's
people, we are African.
What do you mean African people?
Other African
People
countries.
outside of Somalia.
African people.
African
I'm an African. Like I
This
can
is funny,
say
this is
Somali.
funny.
But you're saying African.
Let me show you why it's funny.
I can speak
No.
about I can speak about Somali as I can say Somali people. Even though I'm a Somali,
just say
there's nothing
other
whole with
people.
that. No,
Why are you
I'm
saying
Why does
other
whole African bother you?
I said
Other
African. I didn't
Why
say
does it
other.
bother
I
you?
didn't say other. I said African.
What's interesting to me though?
African people
Yeah, go
was
on.
not there to help us when we were in crisis. And those who came to and you had an
At what point were you in crisis?
So now,
From
2019.
from
till now.
1977.
Here's the
Till
problem.
now. Till now, we are. There are 24 car bombings in this year, Kelly, in 2019.
That's been done
My
with.
balls,
Actually, you're not
So you're talking about from the 70s to the 90s?
from 1977
Yeah.
until 2016.
Right.
What was the issue in
Right.
1977?
So now we had the AMISOM soldiers who were meant to be the African soldiers. But these soldiers, they would only come to our country to exploit our minerals and pretend they're actually fighting and put the Somali soldiers on the front lines.
Alright.
You get me?
Alright.
So there was no help. So we'd rather be ourselves and depend on ourselves because the world is only there to benefit from us and we don't benefit from them. You get me?
There's
So
a lot
that's
in
why.
that though, you know.
No, honestly, man.
No, there is a lot in it.
We're not seeing it from a Somali point of view.
No, I am. No.
From our point of view.
No.
My question is,
Welcome to the continent, my
I was
brother.
talking about migration.
Welcome to the east. Welcome to the east. Welcome to the
We know
continent.
it's complicated. We know it's complicated.
It's complicated. The horn is complicated, my brother.
But it's
You
very.
won't understand.
No.
You're looking at it from
To
outside.
be fair, there's not a part of the continent that's not complicated. And I'm saying that even accepting that there may be some complications in the east. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause, like even like you were saying about the Eritrea issue, yeah. Technically speaking, there's not like a serious, like in terms of lineage and heritage, there's not a massive difference between Eritrea and Ethiopia, like lineage-wise. Right? And Somali, right?
East Africa, man. East Coast, baby.
There's not a massive,
East
like,
Coast, baby.
you know
Come on,
what I'm saying?
Zimbabwe.
Right? My point,
Let me say this. Remember,
but it's political. My point is that it's political.
what I'm saying is, this is a great topic we can start, but because these brothers came to start a particular topic.
Yeah. You're right.
Because
No. What's
They have a
interesting?
curfew.
We're gonna do it after.
They've got a
We're
curfew,
gonna
you
do it
know what I'm
after
saying?
this.
So we come back
My
to
thing
it.
is-
Just for respect for the new guys.
Alright, let me ask you this here before you go, right? Right, let me ask you this before.